is a data entrepreneur?
Okay, that's a good question. I was working as a data scientist at Toyota, but I'd always had this entrepreneurial itch, and I couldn't find like a job title that really captured bringing those two things together. But I read some article, and they're like, how to become a data entrepreneur or something like that, and I was like, I really like that title, and I decided to start this community called the Data Entrepreneur, trying to bring people that also resonate with that title together, because I couldn't is the only one. But I see a data entrepreneur as someone that has the skills of like a data practitioner, so your data analyst, your data scientist, someone who works with numbers, but they also have that entrepreneurial itch. They have that entrepreneurial mindset. They want to start businesses, they want to solve problems, they want to work on things that they're passionate about and that's meaningful to them. I was looking for a community that was exactly those people, and I couldn't find it. That's the short version. I could find data people, I could find entrepreneurs, but I couldn't find both. So I eventually just gave up, and I was like, I'm just going to start this community, and I'll call it the Data Entrepreneurs.
It's a little bit similar to what we're trying to do here by bringing these different groups together and seeing what that experiment will result in. So that's great. I was so impressed as I was looking at your website. You've got events coming up in Austin. You've got YouTube videos. I think after watching your video, I kind of finally understand what AI does. Okay. So thank you. It was I appreciate that. But talk a little bit maybe about the different ways that you're bringing that group together, that new group, and bringing these different facets together.
There was no master plan to all this. It was just like do what's obvious, and then just iterate from there. Started with a little Discord community. Early days, it was like me and just like a few friends. Ryan was in there because he works in data governance. But it was just like a few of us, and then we do these weekly chats in there. So if you're not familiar, Discord is kind of like Slack, but a bit less formal and professional, more casual. So we have these weekly events, and I remember one event distinctly that I show up, and I was the only one that showed up. So I think that really embodies a lot of what entrepreneurship is. It's like, you're going to be doing stuff, and you're going to feel like a complete idiot. It's like, why am I doing this silly, made-up stuff? But you keep doing it, and then we kept doing more events. We did more like workshop type events. We did more like interview podcast style events, and it started getting pretty good traction. So like surprisingly now we have over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. It's not a huge number, but way more than I expected. We have like 400 people in our Discord, so it's come a long way from just being alone in an event to now we consistently get a few dozen people coming to the event.
This data entrepreneur, there may be folks out there who have considered themselves entrepreneurs for a while, and as you mentioned, data scientists or data analysts. What advice would you give them if they said, actually, that sounds like what I really want to do. I want to be a data entrepreneur. What advice would you give them? What do they need to do different, or what do they need to be willing to embrace to kind of make that crossover?
Two things. One, just start in whatever capacity right now, whether that's just content creation, whether that's spending an hour a week studying something new, like studying AI or studying business, depending on your background. If you're already really comfortable with AI, start thinking about like product development, or start thinking about leadership, or just start your LLC. Even you have nothing to sell, you can start LLC. It's like $200. Get a business bank account. Just start in whatever small way you can as soon as possible. And then the second thing is just go toward discomfort, because that's the path of growth. And that's the path of entrepreneurship. If you feel comfortable, if things feel easy, if it doesn't feel like a stretch to do your job or to do whatever project you're doing on, that's not the right path. If it feels like, I don't know if I can actually pull that off, it's like, okay, that's exactly what I need to be doing.
That's great. I hear some amens up there.
I talk back.
Okay. Great. You and your sister, and I was joking with Sean, they both went to UT. I'm a graduate of UTD. I'm lucky I went when I did, because there's no way I could get into that. But talk about the importance of UT Dallas to your effort, the data entrepreneurs, as well as just the city of Richardson.
UTD was actually very formative for me, and actually through my sister, I had the opportunity to work on the student events board. It's called SWAB. We just put on all the student activities for campus, and I actually learned a whole lot in that role that I didn't expect. So it's like event planning, and we'd have thousands of people come to some of our events. So learned a lot fast, but I think what really stuck with me is like we had such a strong team, and being part of a good team so early on in my career, like that was my first like real job. That's when I kind of got this, I was in. I believed in the power of a team. I believed in the power of a community. A good team is more than the sum of its parts. So you get the right people together, they're capable of doing so much more. That was one of the motivators for the data entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs are so so often just like on their own. It's like an isolated, lonely game, and it's hard. A lot of uncertainty, a lot of feeling foolish. But when you have someone who's going through something similar, and they're saying, no, I had a client ghost me last week too, and it's like, okay, I'm not crazy. Okay, this is normal. And then that just gives you the confidence, and even if it's like a little bit of confidence, just to keep going. And it makes it something that's very hard, just a little bit easier.
As I was looking at your website, I was so impressed at how accessible he is, and that's a really interesting business model for a consultant. We deal with a lot of consultants at the city, and you cannot just get on and say that you want to talk to them. And there's a calendar that pops up, and you can actually schedule a phone call. That's an interesting approach to, or an interesting business model, an interesting approach to existing customers and potentially future customers. Talk about why that's the right approach for you.
Lucky for me, I get a lot of traffic to my website through my YouTube channel. So a lot of times when people are coming to the website, they're already in. You know, they watched a 30-minute video or they binged my content. I've already kind of got their trust. And so having that funnel is a good way to get people who are aligned. You know what I mean? They've kind of already pre-qualified themselves. Mm-hmm. Someone who's willing to sit through a 30-minute lecture on AI, someone who's willing to watch hours of content and then go to my website and book a call, that particular person is going to be more aligned than, you know, me just like blasting 1,000 emails a day, like trying to find someone and then all the headache of that. You know, there are infinite ways to do business, and again, there wasn't a master plan here. This is just something that developed naturally, and it seems to be working so far.
Yeah, that's excellent. For such a complicated topic, your website is super easy to navigate. It's just very friendly. It just makes you feel like you're at home, like you're saying. I mean, it really makes you feel like you should be there. There's probably 1,000 answers to this question.
Okay.
But what are you most passionate about working on right now? What are the 2 or 3, maybe, the problems that you look at and you say, that's what I want to be working on, that's what I want to help, I want to improve that for somebody, or I want to better a community by doing that?
The number one passion that's always gotten me fired up is, it might sound a little like hallmarky, just like unlocking human potential, but I'm really motivated by the opposite side of it. Basically, a war against waste. Waste really bothers me, but the worst thing you can waste is a human being. I don't know if you guys are familiar with David Goggins, but he says something that the human mind is the most dangerous weapon known to man. And we all have this weapon. We have this powerful tool at our disposal, and so many people do not use it to its full potential. And I think that's what really gets me fired up. And I feel like entrepreneurship is such a good way to unlocking people's potential because it allows you to do work that is fully aligned with your unique goals, values, mission, like the things that you care about. And so that's the biggest reason why I do everything that I do, just to kind of like unlock that in people. It's like, you know, wake up, like you can do more, like don't waste your life, please. Like, anyway, that's it.
Well, there's probably not a better answer that's going to be given, really. I mean, it's very special. You've done a lot in the private sector. Government's different. In a lot of ways, right? The public sector is different. Where do you see the biggest opportunity for AI to kind of make government more efficient or make government perform better for our community?
I mean, we were talking like you have the city council and then you have the city manager. It's kind of like your board and your CEO. So I feel like there are a lot of parallels when it comes to public sector and private sector. Of course, maybe like the bottom line is different. It's not dollars. It's something else. But problems are problems, and AI is a tool at the end of the day. My definition of AI is it's a computer's ability to solve problems and make decisions. And so if you're trying to do that, you can use AI to solve it.
Kind of fast forward maybe 5 years, I would say 10, but in technology, and what you do, 5 years is an eternity. But where do you hope that the data entrepreneurs will be in 10 years? Like, what do you hope that the organization will look like, and what do you hope it'll be working on?
You know, yesterday in the Discord, it was a moment I kind of smiled at. We had like 3 different people. One person has a really interesting consulting business. One person's launching a new product soon. Another one is launching a new product, and they have like a marketing agency. So like really experienced entrepreneurs, and they're just going back and forth talking about how to build a landing page, how to build a sales funnel, and it was just like gold. And I was like, this is exactly why I made this community. So just scaling that up, just making this information like accessible to people. And I don't know, like more in-person events, like this many people showed up to a TD event, that would be awesome. Or like a conference, that's something that's always been in the back of my mind, because we're really all over the world. We got people in Asia, in Europe, a lot of people in the US and Canada. So having like a yearly conference or something would be awesome, just to get everyone in the same room. There's a certain aspect of in-person that you can never get over Discord or Zoom or whatever.
Well, I'll extend this offer now. I don't know where our staff is, but yeah, I business, they'll just have to live with us. We will host that first conference right in this building. I mean, I think, if I was going to describe what I think back in the day, a couple of years ago when we were embarking on this IQ journey, you're describing exactly what we were trying to describe, which is if you can create a forum, if you can create just any opportunity for these different players to come together, something special will eventually happen. And then once that happens for the first time, I really believe it'll happen again and again and again and again. And so I think partnering with the data entrepreneurs on a conference would be an absolute no-brainer.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We'd love to do that, so that'd be great.
I'm going to take you up on that.
Last question, and then I did want to save a few minutes for questions from you guys. I know we were supposed to wrap up at 6:30, so that may be about 10 minutes or so. But just last question, not about technology or AI, anything like that, just about Richardson, Texas.
Okay.
What do you think is special or unique about the community, about the people that are here, the small businesses, the totality of Richardson? What do you think it kind of differentiates it?
I really like Richardson. I went to UTD.
Good
night, everyone. I went to school at UTD for 8 years, all 3 degrees at UTD.
Right.
Met so many of my friends at UTD, all sitting here at front row. Met my fiance at UTD. And then the IQ, exactly what you're saying. It's if you get the right people together, good things are going to happen. It's going to happen over and over again. So this is the first time I saw a city doing something like this, making that investment in that prioritization of business and entrepreneurship. So I think that is something really special.
Well, I tell you, let's take maybe 2 or 3 questions from the audience, and then we'll wrap it up here. Any questions?
Thank you for your information here. So the question I have might be a little too deep, at least maybe for my wife it is, for me it is, but the math that goes behind AI.
Yeah.
Is there math out there that has not been developed yet to really get us to where we want AI to be? And I'm speaking specifically on the human side, the emotional side, because your emotions get to change quite often, and when you're trying to make decisions, does the AI come in there and take that into account? So my question, again, it goes back to the math that's out there. I know there's a lot of math out there, but do you think there's something new out there that we have to develop in order to make AI that much stronger?
So, to see if I understood correctly, AI that captures more than just typing in text into ChatGPT, but kind of gets that
the human side.
The human side of things.
Right.
Absolutely. These systems are only going to get more advanced, and at the end of the day, it's just going to come down to the use case. Does it make sense to capture that information? Because even today, we have the technology. We can bring in computer vision to read body language. We can talk to the AI, and it can get the semantic meaning of what you're saying. I feel like if there is a important use case, there's value in capturing that human aspect, then definitely that technology is going to come.
Yes.
For someone getting started, content creation, putting yourself out there, just your one-liner advice, and then
Just
if
start.
I can squeeze in a second.
Just start right now. Your future self will thank you. For me, it started, I was writing this PhD dissertation, and I was like, okay, let me just copy-paste sections onto the internet and post them as blogs. And it's okay, well, I already wrote an article about it. Making some slides is minimal effort, maybe another 30 minutes, and then I just recorded myself with a webcam. And then now I have 15,000 subscribers on YouTube. You never know which direction it's going to go, and really there's so many upsides to content creation. People might get excited, I can monetize my YouTube channel. That's not what you should get excited about. The 2 things really is the learning. I've learned so much being a content creator, both the technical side, learning more about AI and data science, but also communication. I'm a technical physicist who really struggled with communication, and through writing articles and making YouTube videos, my communication skills have gotten a lot better. And then the second thing is connection. When you put out content that is authentic and meaningful to you, people who are aligned with you find that content, resonate with it, and they reach out to you. So now you start connecting with like-minded people. I think that's a really special thing.
And then to piggyback off the last one, the next big industry that could innovate to innovation in AI.
I have no idea. So I don't have a crystal ball, but what I'm excited about, because I'm a musician, been playing for 15 years, is the intersection of music and AI. I do feel like language has been solved to a large extent. Image and video has been solved and is being solved, if anyone's seen Sora recently. But music is really untapped, and there's some unique challenges there because it's all copyrighted. But I feel like that could be pretty impactful, especially for me as a musician. position.
Question?
Yeah, hey, I know we spoke a little bit before the event. This is amazing. When I think about like the incredible ambition that you have when you were describing about the chance to really change the course of human history and the way that we experience the world with machines and automation, when you think about, and you already said it, right? Like the use cases are almost endless. Thousands,
Right.
millions of different kinds of things that you can apply in different fields or disciplines. When you think about changing the human experience, one of them I think would be elimination of scarcity, right? Scarcity of resources, spending our time creating supply chains of food and things like that. Like, could you maybe take it down from sort of the, the very high level, like changing the human experience, and think about maybe some of the macro, just speak to some of the macro use cases you see about like some of the changes that you might see on the horizon?
Yeah, again, I don't really know, to be honest. I might have PhD after my name, but I'm a pretty simple guy. I don't really think about stuff like that. Everything that I ever do is do the obvious thing and just kind of iterate from there. So it's always start simple and let things develop organically. I don't think you can really predict stuff like this, but I am excited, curious to see how it's going to play out.
One final question.
Yeah, what was your dissertation on?
Oh gosh. Well, actually, if you go to the UTD side, you'll see it. I was doing research with Dr. Laurie at Mints, so there's a video of my eyes over there doing blinks and stuff. But basically, a lot of it was using AI, machine learning, whatever you want to call it, to just study the human body. So we're measuring things like brain activity, ECG, which is like heart activity, eye tracking, all that kind of stuff, and trying to make sense of it. Because if you've looked at EEG, it's just a bunch of squiggly lines on a computer screen that doesn't make any sense. And so we were trying to make sense of it using AI.
Before I make some final remarks, anything that you'd like to close with?
Thanks so much for having me. Like I mentioned earlier, I was a huge fan of the IQ ever since its launching. So really being here is kind of surreal and a full circle moment. So it's really been an honor.
Let me just close by saying it's been just a pleasure this week to get to know you. UT Dallas is fortunate to have you as a partner, as an alumni. The city of Richardson is fortunate to have you as a stakeholder, and IQ will benefit for years to come having you as a partner. So I just want to thank you for everything that you're doing. I can't wait to see data entrepreneurs in 5 years because I think it's going to be spectacular, and I think you're going to be doing what we're trying to do here by bringing folks together to better the world.
Yeah.
I think it's just you're going to be doing it on a whole new scale in
so.
5 years from now. So thank you for being here tonight.
Yeah.